Hello, this is Rich with SoCal Warehouse, and in this video, I'm going to walk you through this property as a guide to what to look for as an owner, as a tenant or buyer when you're walking a commercial property, to just be more aware of certain components of the building, such as electrical, HVAC, plumbing, roof, so that when you go and tour a building, you know exactly what to look for and potential future things that could occur as it pertains to leasing the building, selling the building to an end user that's looking for specific requirements in their property. So let's go ahead and take a look. So right away, as you walk into the building, you see there's quite a bit of work being done. This is all new insulation and HVAC duct work here that's being installed here. Sometimes that's great if there's an office use, a flex component use to the property. Sometimes it's not needed. And as an owner, you could be putting in money into the building that you really don't need to. So be wary of insulation and HVAC systems, depending on the age of your building, depending if it already has existing insulation. You just want to be mindful of who your end user is going to be and if it's going to be necessary for them to have that HVAC component and insulation. Because, for example, you may have a manufacturer who really just does not care about the HVAC because they're going to be running it all day, wasting power, knowing that their building's going to still heat up. Another thing, access to the actual inside of the warehouse of the property. So right here we have a roll-up door. This is one roll-up door. We're looking at about a standard 10-foot wide, and I know that the clearance here is only about 11 feet. So that's something to be extremely mindful if you're looking to buy, lease a property, what your clearance is, because a lot of the times you have vehicles that are coming into the property and they have a certain height, and you want to be able to make sure that not only is the clear height tall enough, but your actual access to the building is, and that's via your roll-up door. Okay, so this is a shorter door here. We're at about 8.5, 9 feet. So that kind of makes this specific area of the building a little obsolete to a lot of potential uses and tenants that would want to occupy this. Power, as you see here, a lot of exposed wiring, but this is going to be a 400 amp panel. Guys, this is a lot of power. One thing to consider is if it's single phase or 3-phase. A lot of times, any heavy machinery manufacturing is going to require 3-phase power, so that all of their equipment could be all of the power for their equipment can be generated off each specific unit. Therefore, this is a lot of power, but it's just single phase. So that may be capping a potential use down the road for a mechanic, for a machine shop, for any type of heavy manufacturing component. That being said, for a regular use, as far as it pertains to storage, as far as it pertains to office flex administrative use, this is more than enough. 200 amps to do the job. But right here we're sitting at 400, and as you can see here, it's all being still wired up. Taking us to our next part, we have a bathroom here. As you can see, all being remodeled. A good amount of offices here. This is actually a kitchen here. And one thing to note is that a kitchen could be useful, or it could also be something just not necessary. So you really want to be mindful of any improvements that you're doing to the building before you actually do them, to make sure that there's an audience, make sure that there's demand for that type of amenity, so that you're not putting dollars in that are not going to give you a return. This is commercial real estate. You want a return on your investment. And as a user, you want to make sure that you're buying something or leasing something that you're going to actually be able to occupy. All right, so we are now entering the larger space of the property. Be careful, there's some exposed concrete as they're still working on some of the plumbing. And you see here that we have a higher clear height. And that's important because this could be where the majority of the storage could be used. A lot of times our clients are using racking systems so that be able to store and utilize more of the real estate and go higher. Okay, so the higher the ceiling, the better in most cases. Because you're able to maximize racks so that you can store more products, store more machines, really whatever the end user is going to be utilizing the building for. And one thing to also consider is your access points. So here we have access from the side of the property. We have a roll-up door in the front. There's another one being installed directly behind you guys. And it's important to have access from various points so that if you have employees that need to step out, you have a break room. If you have just specific egress and from one part of the building for all your shipments going out, and specific shipments coming in so that you could be efficient in your operations. And this is all very important as it pertains to an owner, as it pertains to a user, tenant, a buyer to look at. I will say, if you just look around here, there's office component here to the side. This office to warehouse ratio is something big as well. What does that mean? That means how much office is being utilized in the overall building versus warehouse. And a good split there is an 80-20 split, which gives you a lot of future potential to either remove unneeded office or add more office without having to go an extreme amount while still having the existing office component. So 20% office in the building, 80% warehouse is a good rule of thumb for the industry as it pertains to industrial warehousing, because it still gives you that flexibility. But tons and tons of upgrades here. You see copper supply lines all over the place, brand new electrical, everything. This is a prime building as it pertains to improvements that are being done here, and it's just very impressive to see. As you can see, there's another egress, another access point to exit the back of the property here, and they're doing some concrete work back there. Walking along here, you see all the duct work. As you see, the actual ducting system does not go in the entire property, but in most of the offices, you're gonna have that duct work, and that's great because it's insulated and it's heated and aired. So that access is phenomenal. And as you see, we're on the exterior of the property now. We have a yard, right? This yard is really a big added bonus. A big added bonus because the lot is full of cars right now. The lot is full of cars, and to be able to have your own private yard, to be able to have your own privacy, fence gated, to have that security to store additional product or vehicles, containers, is huge for any potential user. So buying a property, leasing a property with a land component as well as a building is going to be huge. So these are things that you really want to consider when you're buying, leasing, or selling a property, so that you know exactly the value proposition that you're building or the building that you're looking at has to offer. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to reach out. This is Rich with SoCal Warehouse. We're going to be touring this property to the team, kind of giving them an insight as to what this product has to offer. But we also want to help you guys. So do not hesitate to reach out via email, info@socalwarehouse.com. That's info@socalwarehouse.com, or message us directly wherever you're watching this video. Look forward to being in touch.